What is going on, guys? It's Walker Heckman here, back with another video. Today we've got something special for you. I'm going to talk about my 10 favorite lures for catching northern pike. Now, if you guys are anything like me, it's the middle of February, and I've been grinding away, hitting that hard water, catching some pike through the ice, catching some perch, but I am so excited for springtime to get here. Springtime, in my opinion, is the best time to catch pike and bass, which are my two favorite fish to catch in the state of Montana. While it is ice fishing season, and I'm doing a lot of ice fishing, in the background I'm kind of getting rods ready, buying some new baits. I'm kind of prepping for our spring fishing season, which I think a lot of guys do, because it's just so darn exciting. So today, I thought I'd help some of you guys out. If you've never really fished for pike, or if you've dabbled in it and didn't do so well, or if you're just looking to gather some more pointers or some more information, this video is for you. Before we jump up in this one, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. We're getting closer to our 1,000 subscriber mark for our giveaway every single day, and I want to thank you, because without you guys that giveaway wouldn't be possible. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and that notification bell, because you do not want to miss any of my future videos. They're gonna be bangers. With that, I got a lot of baits to cover in this video, so we're gonna jump right into it. So kind of the beauty with northern pike is you can get reaction strikes and feeding strikes in the same day. These fish are super aggressive and they're big eaters. So whether you're going for 40 inches or you just want to have a pile of pike in one day, I think I've got the bait that you should try this spring. Now, I've got 10 different styles of baits here, and they're not really in any particular order, but I'm probably gonna slip in if it's my favorite or one of my favorites, and I'm definitely gonna talk about how I prefer to fish each style. I'll start with some of the basic ones that most people or most anglers know. So number one is gonna be your spoon. You can get spoons in so many different size and color combinations. It's ridiculous. You can catch little hammer handles on spoons as big as this one. That's not to say that you can't catch them with some of these smaller spoons. If you're fishing a lake that's got a bunch of stunted pike, or you know you're not going to be getting into any giants, I would probably prefer to throw this one. But these bigger spoons are a lot bigger and brighter for fish to see them, and they move a lot more water when you're retrieving them. So myself, I prefer a bigger spoon. My favorite colors, I'm gonna give you 3, even though the third one almost doesn't make it in my favorite. My favorite colors is the 5 of diamonds, the classic red and white, and then that third one is the old fire tiger. 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna throw the 5 of diamonds or the red and white before I pick up the fire tiger. But spoons are a fantastic way to get anybody to target pike. They're super easy to fish. I prefer to just kind of slow retrieve these. You can speed them up, you can slow them down, you can do kind of a start stop, you can even twitch them a little bit, but multiple different ways to fish them. Super easy to fish, awesome lure that's been working for over 100 years to catch these teethy fish. Next up is the good old-fashioned inline spinner. This is actually a real big one with a big rooster tail on it. Again, kind of that red and white, red and silver theme, the big white rooster tail coming off of it. If you ever fish in water that you know there's more than just pike, and you're just kind of using it as a search bait, this is an awesome lure to throw. Probably my favorite is this little, well, I say little, but if you're a trout fisherman, this is enormous, but a Mepps number 5 with that yellow and red, the silver blade with the red dots on it. Mepps number 5, probably the best inline spinner, in my opinion, to catch northern pike. This is actually a big inline spinner. I can't remember the name of the brand, but it's targeted towards muskie, but this thing actually hammers northern pike as well. Not to leave out the old Panther Martin. I think this is a size 15 rainbow trout color. have caught tons of northern on this little inline spinner. And then something that's gonna be an absolute surprise to you is this tiny little size 4 rainbow trout panther martin. This thing has caught me tons of hammer handle pike, especially back when I didn't have much of a lure collection and I did a lot of trout fishing. The first few times I went and targeted pike, I had to throw these little guys and they absolutely crushed the little hammer handles. But similar to a spoon, an inline spinner is a super easy lure to fish. Again, I prefer to slow retrieve these, sometimes with some start stops, but you can retrieve them at different speeds. The faster you retrieve it, the higher up in the water column it will sit. That's why I prefer a slow retrieve. But regardless of how you like to fish it, this is another great lure to catch northern pike. Moving on to another style of lure is your classic hard jerkbait. Jerkbaits are probably my favorite lure for catching pike. It's kind of hard for me to say which one's my absolute favorite, but these are definitely up there. I have got multiple different jerk baits. This is a little Rapala husky jerk. This is actually a Guggen Squad Scout in the perch color. I've also got a big Rapala husky jerk in the clown color. Awesome color for pike. I've got kind of this white silvery translucent, then I got this white one with a blue top. I mean, I have just got tons of jerk baits. I don't have a ton to say about them just because they're pretty simple to use. You just toss it in, jerk it through the water, and they got a sweet erratic side to side action, and they definitely trigger bites from northern pike. Next are what I call wire baits, which this first one isn't really a wire bait, but it kind of is to me. That would be a chatterbait, widely known as an awesome bass lure, but a chatterbait, especially with a nice paddle tail swim bait trailer, is an absolute pike monster. If you're fishing the spawn or if you're fishing some dirty water, definitely go with a nice bright chartreuse color. Pike aren't exactly like some of the other finicky fish out there. If it's a bright color, you can still get that trigger strike out of them. You don't have to completely match the hatch, but a chatterbait makes a ton of water movement and racket when you're going through the water, and it's just a pike catching machine. I also have a spinner bait here. Got a big willow blade in the back, Colorado blade in the front. This is in also a pretty bright orange color. This is actually a Guggen Squad Zinger, but again, I mean, you don't even have to throw a trailer on this, but you throw a little paddle tail trailer on this thing makes a ton of action and noise in the water, and these things catch pike. This next style of bait I combine, even though they're kinda two completely different things if you dive deep into it. But we've got your lipless crankbait and we've got your square bill crankbait. Now, kind of an honorable mention is your deep diver crankbaits. I didn't include them in this list because I'm mainly leaning towards spring spawn fishing, and those pike are up shallow in those bays spawning in that season. Those deep divers can work excellent in the summer and fall, especially if you're targeting big pike. So we'll throw that in there as an honorable mention. But these two, the square bill, I think this thing dives 2 to 5 feet. Lipless crankbait, you can kind of fish at any height you want. These things kick butt. I will say, if you're fishing a very weedy or brushy area, you gotta be careful. You gotta fish these safely, because they cost a lot of money, and they got these big treble hooks dangling off the bottom, and they snag up pretty easy. But if you teach yourself how to fish with these, you are going to catch pike. This is the Rapala Rip and Wrap. Lots of noise, kinda Rapala's version of a rattle trap. And this is actually a big Guggen Squad square bill. But these things wreck the northern pike. Now we're getting into kind of the fun stuff. The next one is a soft plastic lure that is heavily oriented around largemouth bass. I have the Rage Tail 10-inch thumper worm, and it's basically an enormous 10-inch curly tail worm. I think the best way to rig these for a northern pike is to put like a big 5 to 7/0 extra wide gap hook in the front, and then tie a trailer hook to that. If you're not super worried about weeds, because you're going to Texas rig that front hook, if you're not super worried about weeds, throw a trailer hook, a little treble, more towards the end of the bait, about 2 inches before that ribbon tail, and this thing makes so much action in the water. And one of the greatest benefits fishing this big worm is that you can use a giant wide gap hook, and you don't have to fish that trailer hook, and you can be totally weedless with this bait, which in a lot of spawning pike bays, weedless is the way to go. Also, with this 10-inch thumper in particular, there are these little divots every 1.5 inches or so. So if you're not liking fishing this big 10-inch worm, you can go ahead and snip the front off of this, turn it into like an 8 or 7-inch worm, or snip it back even farther, all the way to almost right in front of that tail. So that just makes it a very versatile bait that you should have in your tackle box this spring. I actually ordered some 10-inch Mondo worms from the Googans. I will definitely want to compare the Rage versus the Googan, but any 10-inch curly tail worm will catch you northern pike. Next up is a soft plastic swim bait. Well, kind of swim baits and glide baits. There are tons of different sizes of these, different colors, different brands, everything. We'll go ahead, start off with the smallest I have, and that is made by Live Target. This is a little 4-inch perch, and Live Target makes some seriously realistic looking swim baits. This is more of a paddle tail style, so this kind of swims in the water, and it comes pre-rigged with that big hook above the fin, and that fin actually acts as a weed guard, which is awesome. But you've also got a point down there to throw a treble hook on it if you want to go that route. Live Target swim baits are awesome. They look super realistic, but you don't always need that with pike, and they tend to do some serious damage on soft plastics with all those teeth. So you could definitely go a cheaper route, but here's a little 4-inch swim bait. The next one is more of a glide bait. It is a jointed soft plastic. This is made by Savage Gear, kind of a high-end soft plastics manufacturer. This thing has ungodly action in the water. This is the rainbow trout pattern. This is a little over a 5-inch. You actually feed your line right down the face of it, pops out the bottom, tie to your line tie right there, and then you got this nice treble hook, which I might replace with a bigger treble hook. I haven't decided yet, but you can just pop this piece off, replace that treble hook, pop it back in, and then when you're fishing this, you're gonna wanna, I mean, if you're in a somewhat weedy area, you're gonna wanna pin your treble hook in the bottom down there. But this thing is absolutely wicked. Again, kind of an expensive lure to catch pike with, but they work. The last one in this category is this massive 8-inch. This is in a Fire Tiger. Now this is actually made by Storm, which is kind of a cheap soft plastic swim bait manufacturer. This thing only costs like $8, so it's not quite as devastating if a pike rips the tail off of it. This one actually has a bill, and it's got a really nice glide action through the water with that tail as well. Awesome bait to target big pike. The next soft plastic lure I'm going to talk about is more of what you actually think about when you think of soft plastics, and that is a simple soft plastic jerk bait. I've got some Berkley Power Bait Power Jerk Shads. These are 5-inch. The only setback to fishing this type of lure is that this type of soft plastic gets absolutely annihilated by northern pike versus some of those other higher end soft swim baits. This type of soft plastic gets pretty roughed up by pike, but it's also a lot cheaper. I think this pack was like $5 and you get 10 of them. So even if you have to replace it after every fish, 10 fish for $5, whatever. But these, you fish very similar to like a Rapala Husky jerk. And again, the greatest part about this type of jerk bait is that you can go ahead and Texas rig this weedless. Weedless baits in the springtime are absolutely killer, and you can throw whatever size worm weight on the front of it and fish these at any depth you could possibly think of. I've also got an even cheaper Yum brand. They call this the Break-In Shad. This is just a little 4-inch, but just another, as you can tell, I kind of like white with these jerk baits. Just another little soft plastic jerk bait. These are even cheaper. This is a 10-pack that I think costs like $3 or $4. So they're gonna get destroyed by pike, but they're cheap, and you can Texas rig them, and go weedless with these bad boys. Before I jump into the last soft plastic, I'm gonna go ahead and throw this in there. This does count as a bait in the 10 list, but it's kind of a give or take, and there's multiple different styles in this style, and that is your topwater baits. I mean, you have so many to choose from. Every company makes a handful of them. This is kind of your popper style. This is Bass Pro Shops. Got that nice white tail on the back, treble hook, nice deep bowl in the front, nice little popper presentation. Then I've also got a little Lunker Hunt frog. These legs get destroyed when these get eaten by pike. Again, these are kind of in the bass category, but you've got multiple different styles of topwaters. They definitely make some that are more durable. I mean, this hard popper style bait is definitely pretty durable compared to something like this hollow body frog. But if you can get on a topwater bite with northern pike, you are not going to be disappointed. Another honorable mention goes with fly fishing. You know, you get a heavyweight fly rod for pike. You get these big, nice streamers. Awesome way to catch pike with the fly rod. Not something I do, so it's just an honorable mention. With that, we have made it to the final bait style I'm gonna talk about, and that is a paddle tail swim bait. I mean, you can get so many different brands and styles of these. These are some just Shields Outfitters branded ribbed swim baits. This is a little walleye assassin, more of a smooth body paddle tail. Every soft plastics company makes a paddle tail swim bait. They all make them slightly different, but they all do the same thing. Pop one of these big 5-inch ribbed ones out. These things bring a ton of action, and again, you can Texas rig these. Make them weedless, which can be very beneficial in the springtime, fishing those shallow waters for spawning pike. These also get destroyed by pike, but just like those last few plastics I talked about, they're pretty cheap to replace compared to something like this fancy glide bait. Here's a little 4-inch walleye assassin. I really wish I could find this in like a 6-inch, because this color is a northern pike killer. But again, just a paddle tail swim bait. This one's a smooth body, red and white. These things are just super easy to fish in weedy or brushy waters with the Texas rig. And if you guys aren't familiar with the Texas rig, I'll leave a link in the description below. I recently made a video about how to do the Texas rig. Make sure you go check that out. I guarantee it'll change the way you fish certain water. So guys, with that, that's gonna be the end of this video. I'm just super amped for spring pike fishing. I wanted to share it with you, and I thought, what better way than to talk about my favorite lures to use in the spring season for pike. Now, that's not to say you can't use these all year, because these are pretty much the lures I use for pike any time of the year, except for maybe through the ice. But anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to smash that subscribe button to be entered in our 1,000 subscriber giveaway. I'm giving away an ugly stick spinning combo as soon as my channel hits 1,000 subscribers. I'll leave the detailed rules for that giveaway in the description box below. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to smash that like button. It really helps my video out here on YouTube. And if you guys didn't see your favorite bait, or maybe you saw a bait that you're really excited to try out this spring, be sure to let me know in the comments below. I love interacting with you guys, and I answer every single comment. Make sure you guys get out and do some spring pike fishing. You will not regret it. And as always, keep it wild.